Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Thanks for tuning into my channel. All right, let's check out what's going on. Look at this freaking market. Look at the size of this gap on Russell. These are daily bars. Now that I don't do the profit boxes anymore, I'd really like to stay more on daily bars, but 30-minute bars are cool also. But that's a massive gap on the daily chart right there. There's also a gap right here back from the Trump gap. Gaps are bullish. Gaps up are bullish, especially as long as the market stays above it. All right, so that's Russell doing great this morning. Everything's doing well. Well, not so much on the S&P. It opened up and then turned around a little bit. Now it's still holding a pretty nice size gap. S&P closed last night at 69.33, opened at 85.60. So whatever that is, is that 15 points or something? Something like that, 16 points. Let's look at the NASDAQ. All right. Now the NASDAQ still has the Trump gap open. It still has a small part of the Trump gap is open. The NASDAQ also has a gap this morning that's open, a bullish gap. Gap-wise, everything is looking very bullish. Gaps are just one of many things to look at. We'll look at VIX, which is now under the 200-day moving average. That's the first time it's the first time it's happened in a while. It was under the 200-day last week for a little while, but then before that, it had been like 6 months. It had been above ever since July. So all of July, or last half of July, August, September, October, and part of November, it was above the 200-day moving average, which is bearish for the market. It's supposed to be bearish for the market. The market wasn't very bearish during that time. All right, VIX looks about the same. It's under the 200-day moving average. VIX futures, check out VIX futures. It is as well. All right, so it's blue skies ahead right now. Green means go. It's 3 for 3 bullish. So that's good. Let's look over here at the Alti-verse and see how Jay's taking advantage of this or not. I forgot to update the LT. Well, we're going to look at the LT grid. Okay, the LT grid is updated. And all the trades are the same as the other day, except he added 2 positions. He added Foot Locker, and I bet you they have earnings this week. And he also added SMTC. Somehow I missed putting that on here too. SMTC, he put on a caller. Of course, this has turned into a caller fund. Those are the only 2 new positions. Other than that, he's just rolling with everything he had on from last week. I mean, Dell, Abercrombie Fitch, Tesla. Anyway, okay, so, but I did a bad thing, and that is I did not update the Alti grid. So if you'll be patient, me real quick, I'll do it. Oh, that worked out perfect. The average, there was the same number of stocks, so the average hit the right place. I didn't even have to do anything. Okay, well, that's pretty damn impressive. I mean, look at this. Alti's up 70 bips. Of course, it's a good day for their stocks. Their stocks are up $1.65 or 1.65. Well, HIMS has really been keeping it up lately, for sure. It's hard to beat HIMS's performance lately, right? Mara looking good as well. Looking well is good. Good as well. TNA, that's triple leverage something. I don't mess with the triple leverage ones. But TQQQ, if you have to mess with the triple leverage one, that's the one you want. Because I do mess with that one sometimes. All right, Mobileye looking good today. Planeteer looking good. We should just all buy the Trump stocks, Planeteer, Tesla, whatever the Trump supporters did. Leverage ourselves to the Trump trade for the next 4 years, and then make a lot of money. But Planeteer is one of those ones we need to keep an eye out for. Rumble, DJT. I know they're shitty companies, but I mean, but Planeteer and Tesla, aren't that shitty. Anyway, look at Foot Locker, up 6.74%. I know they have earnings today, or I know they have earnings sometime soon. Let's check Earnings Hub and see who has earnings today. We'll also look at the buffer report and see how the other YieldMax stocks are doing. Let's see. We have I wonder if Hims is going to have as good of a performance as Dix. I mean, Dix is a really hard stock to beat. I mean, Dix is a tough nut to crack. I expect Dix to go straight up after earnings. All right, well, Abercrombie & Fitch, they have earnings this week, and that's in the portfolio. Dell's in the portfolio. CrowdSpace is in the portfolio. So he does have some earnings stocks. I was kind of surprised that let's look at the next week. Maybe he's preparing. Maybe he's trying to play earnings into this following week. Okay, we have CRM, which is Salesforce. Zscaler. I like Zscaler. I've done well on Zscaler before. Don't know what it is, but it's some kind of tech something or another. Man, I had a really, really nice, really nice earnings trade on that one once. Lululemon. Boy, Lululemon's kind of part of the same trade as Dix and Hims. You know, the guys that use Hims and go to Dix generally like Lululemons. Their wives or girlfriends wear Lulus. All right. Well, Clean Spark's coming up with earnings next week or the week after next, SMCI. So you can see we'll be playing these stocks. You know, Jay's going to have positions in these two and probably a lot of these other ones. I bet he'll do a Salesforce and Zscaler. All right, so let's look at just the normal YieldMax stuff. We've spent enough time on the Alti-verse. Still up 70 bips. So actually, we're going to start the index buffer report. Love me a good index fund, as you guys are aware. So look at SPY-T outperforming the parent. T-SPY outperforming the parent. Great job, T-SPY. WDTE coming close to outperforming the parent. JEP-I outperforming the parent. iSPY outperforming the parent, as is XDTE, which I would totally expect because of the gap up. XDTE monetizes gaps up. Although, if you guys heard my latest interview with Jay, he's kind of doing the roundhill strategy partly in that he's still selling the option the night before to get the 24 hours worth of premium. But if there's a big gap up, he'll cover that option and sell another one. So that's called a defensive roll. When your strike gets blown out, if you guys have ever traded covered calls or it's about to get blown out, lots of times you're able to cover, sometimes even at a small profit, but at a loss, then you roll further out and reestablish the big credit and kind of reestablish the trade. Well, that's what he started doing recently. And I've been noticing that triple QY and WDTE seem to be getting more upside than they used to. I don't have a number I can run on it. I mean, I haven't run one yet, but to me, this chart looks This 1 week back here, they were just murdering the upside after the Trump trade. And I think that Jay anticipated that and started doing the new strategy in there with regards to what I'm calling the defensive role. Now, the way Roundhill does it's a fine way to do it also. They just don't worry about the defensive role, wait till the next morning. Problem is that screws you over when the market goes down. If you do it that way, because then Roundhill has to do something the next morning, and so then lots of times they have to sell the low of the day. So if there was only one right way to do it, everyone would do it exactly that same way. That's the fun thing. There's no one right way to do it. Okay, in NASDAQ land, look at FEPI killing it, AIPI killing it, Triple QY beating the parent, Triple QT beating the parent, QDTE beating the parent, and also, to be fair, QDTE and XDT are also beating Defiance today. But Defiance is putting in a good show. Better show than they used to put in. Jay, and what I've come to realize is Jay and Mike are basically building these funds. That mean they build them for them, and they're their babies, but they're extremely sensitive to input. So, these funds have kind of morphed into funds that kind of that we've been asking for, basically. All right, ULTY, a little bit of underperformance in NASDAQ land, but everything's up so much, so that's fine. IVVW is actually, I should put it down here with the rest of the S&P. This is S&P based. This is actually the biggest outperformer in SPY land today, in S&P land. What else do we have? Look at TLTW killing it. I mean, this is a simple little bond covered call fund, and it's up 1.25%. Now, granted, TLT's up more, but what in the hell is going on here with TLT? Look at that size of that gap. Holy shit. Wow. All right. I hate bonds, though, but I'm trying to think. Price and yield are inverse in bonds. I always have to think about this. Whenever bonds are crashing, that means rates are going up. Okay. So rates jumped up this morning. So that means versus yesterday, rates are dropping, which is good. That's usually a bullish sign for the market. The market usually likes to go up, usually at the same, or lots of times it's correlated to when bonds go up, but not always. But bonds did have a freaking face-ripping rally in late September. All right. Well, in any event, bonds are trying to start going up again. We'll see. We'll see, but I'm impressed that TLTW, and it's not a J fund, it's not a title fund. I don't even know whose fund it is, but I'm just impressed any fund that can make a covered call fund that can be up 1.25%. I mean, that's pretty good. And it has fully capped upside and stuff. I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying it's impressive. All right, so now let's go to the conventional single stock buffer report. Look at this, SMCY, SMCI. That's a lot of upside that is catching there, 9%. I loved when they split this stock. When they split SMCI, I always forget which one's which, but when they split this, which was right here, what was it, 10 for 1? Yeah, 10 for 1. So it was $400, so it's too expensive to run a will on or to do lots of basic strategies. But as soon as it popped down to 20, 40, 50 bucks, to me, 20 to 50 is kind of the wheelhouse for will strategies and for the stuff like Alti kind of likes to do. Let's go look at Alti really quick. Don't you guys love how I get sidetracked? could look right here. Yeah, I mean, all right. So Foot Locker's in the 20s. Hims is in the 20s. I mean, Mobileye is what, in the teens, because they're selling 14, 18, and 15. I'm just looking at the call strikes. Mondo DB is 30s and 33s. Jay does deal with some expensive ones. There's some expensive ones in here. But I've noticed a lot of these are the lower priced stocks. Palo Alto Networks, that's an expensive one. There's no two ways about that. Yeah. But I just think it makes it so much better for retail if they would split Palo Alto Network, 5 or 10 to 1, where you can afford to put on, basic option strategies the retail likes to do, like, cash secured puts, covered calls, and even butterflies and iron condors with the smaller amount of capital. Really, in YieldMax land, we have a bunch of them pulling back. InFly is down more than the parent at this point in the day. Even the mighty NVDY is pulling back. But on the good side, we have Bobo outperforming the parent. Abney getting all the freaking upside, just missing by 2 bips. Snowy getting a ton of upside. It's a great day to be a high yield investor. See what the market says. The market's selling off. I kind of get the idea the market's selling off. I guess that's the one reason. Let's get down here to the 30-minute. I like to use the exact same settings, the same Bollinger Bands, the same everything on every time frame I look at. So just evaluating this time frame, you could see last week we had a gap down, and after the gap down, we got 2 closes outside the Bollinger Band. So that's definitely a bearish trending signal. We actually had a bearish trending signal right here before the gap down, and actually right here before that. So the market was telling us last week, towards the end of last week, in the 30-minute chart, that we might pull back. Sure enough, we gapped down. What day was that? Friday. So that was Friday. We gapped down here. We get some more follow through, but then the market stops, and bottoms out. Now it's fighting with that gap. We're fighting to get through that gap. This was the Friday before last. Well, then by last Thursday, we fought our way through the gap, and we also got the 2 closes in a row outside the Bollinger Bands. We got a bullish trending signal at 59.40 right when we got through the gap. It's been a great signal, because here we are a day later. We woke up this morning, we're over 6,000 on the S&P. Now we're pulling back right now, but but we'll see. We'll see. Let's look at the NASDAQ. But the market's been telling us what it wanted to do. That the last bearish signal was here, but then it gave a bullish signal here and here, and we've been trending up since then. So, not to mention, I like when things coincide with each other, and VIX has been giving bullish, but our trend following system has been giving bullish signals also. So this week should be a good time. Until things change, it should be a good time for the bulls. Path of least resistance should be up. This thing can't predict the future, but all right, guys, I appreciate you for being here. Leave me a comment if you have any. If I forgot to cover anything, I apologize. I'm sure every time I hang up with you guys, I think about 48 things I wanted to say. Anyway, I'll come on later. All right. Have a good day.